What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the wrong frickin' screen. Let's try that again. Welcome, everybody. This is not really like an official episode of the Dirty Pool podcast, but something else that I thought might be a little neat to do. We're doing kind of like a meet the team. And as many of you may know, Pinball Expo has ended. 90% of the people that went to it are now sick and will be suffering for the next week. Somehow Joshua and I have dodged that bullet. So today's little episode is to say hello, to say thank you to everybody that went there. It was an overwhelming experience for me. This was not a position I was expecting to be in. All the people that came up to me that threw up love for the Great Pyramid, just everybody was super positive, and it couldn't have been a better experience meeting everybody. But today, we're not only talking about Expo, we're here to talk about something else extremely important about our game, the Winchester. I'm joined by none other Joshua Clay, who you may know from plenty of other Stern titles, his illustration artwork and whatnot. You are responsible for the 3D modeling, the Winchester house itself on the screen. Hello, Joshua.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
So today's kind of like a hybrid episode. We're here to chit chat about Expo and our experience with it. We're here to answer questions. If you guys have, or guys and girls have any questions about the game itself, what we can answer in the capacity that we can. Just in general, like the team's hyped. Like this is universally not what we expected to have happen with the game. And I think I speak for everybody that we couldn't be happier about it. And it's important that everybody watching this know that we cannot wait to make this game the best it can possibly be and to continue this momentum to make a really special pinball machine. So yeah, without further ado, throw your questions. And Josh, can you talk a little bit about what got you involved in the project and, you know, your work? Let's talk about Winchester.
Yeah, I guess what got me involved in the project was I was working at Warner Brothers Games on a Mortal Kombat title, and they had cut the mobile games division, which I was a senior user interface artist for that. And I had talked to David before. So after I got laid off, I was sort of took some time to decide what I wanted to do. I thought about trying to go back into AAA video games, but I wasn't really happy. I was kind of burned out on that. So I'd hit up David about Barrels of Fun to kind of see where they were at with their games and to see where they're at with the company. And he invited me onto the team. I got working on Dune and did all the user interface stuff for Dune. And then as that was going, he was talking to me about Winchester. So yeah, it just sort of naturally led from Dune into Winchester. And I had a bigger role on Winchester because we didn't have any license or assets really. So I needed to come up with a plan to create everything, to tell the story that Karl had designed.
Let's touch base on that too, because I think a lot of people had mentioned like, man, oh man, like, well, you got such a small license, you don't have to acquire all these licensor assets. Like, what an easier pin to make. And I can't imagine the amount of eye rolling that occurred as soon as you heard that. And it's like, instead of crutching on like video assets that kind of like automatically fill a certain like role in the pin, now all of a sudden we're having to like make all of this stuff from scratch. I do find it hilarious. Somebody had said a rumor that that we went in and scanned the whole house with LiDAR or something. No, there was a tour. There were tons of reference photos, and then you modeled every room that is in the game. Like all these real rooms that exist in the house are modeled by you. And then with character animation by Julian, right? She contributed on that.
Yep.
So you talk about a little bit.
Did that.
Can you give a little bit of the process of going from photos to 3D model?
Yeah, it was. You know, even if you don't have license or assets, you pay for it. You know, you pay either way. And honestly, like so many countless hours into modeling these rooms, you know, and it's not until you really start looking at the photos of the rooms that you realize just how detailed they are. The amount of like amazing woodwork in every room, all of the super ornate objects and items, chandeliers, just woodwork in general, doors, trim. There's just some incredible like aspects to each room, and because of the way that she built this house, you can't reuse everything from one room to the next. It's like every room you're almost starting from scratch, because she was constantly Sarah Winchester was constantly building onto this house, and just in this weird hodgepodge sort of way, like. So yeah, every single room was just a new adventure, and it was
Yeah.
just a new like.
And
It
you
was a
you
new like.
can't you can't cut
Yeah.
corners with like pre-made assets because this house is so
No.
unique. Like I remember, so like we had, let's talk about the organ. Like this organ is amazing. They have this ornate organ in it. I'm so glad it got used as kind of like a front and center thing for the bonus screen. You see it in the background when you finish a ball after you've been brutally destroyed by the left out lane. And you've got this big organ. And there was no way to find an asset that was even close to it. And you just dove in and was just like, I'm gonna make it.
Yeah. Yeah, because a lot of times when you're working on a 3D project, there's like 3D asset websites where you can, purchase items and download them to use them in scenes. And I looked all over the internet to try and find something close to that organ because, it's a time saver. You can spend 20 hours modeling something from scratch or more, 100 hours sometimes. And then but if you're able to find it on like a store, you could save yourself 40 hours or something by modifying it.
Sure.
But in
And
this
throw
case,
that time into something else in the room that's absolutely more
exactly,
important.
exactly. But in this case, this organ is just one of a kind. So I just, instead of continuing to think about what am I going to do, I just sat down and started working on it. And it was an awesome challenge, honestly. Like there was just, and when you start getting into it, you notice all of these extra little items that even looking at it, I was like, oh, this thing is crazy. And then once I start modeling it, I'm like, oh man, there's so much more to it than I even realized from the first
Totally.
glance.
There's so
Yeah.
many great questions rolling in. I want to just again reiterate, like this is a live thing. That's kind of how I do my podcast. So if you have questions, throw them out, and we will do our best to get to them. Certainly, as many of the things that we can't answer, we absolutely will, and the things that we don't know, we cannot answer. Remember, my role is sound and music and call out direction, as well as just kind of being like a kind of media face for my portion of it, just because I have this platform. And Joshua, obviously, we talked about, does all the 3D modeling. So try to keep the questions to that. If there's stuff outside of that, we'll do our best. First off, there's a few people in here that we spent a lot of time talking to. I want to send out a few shout outs individually. Joshua and I were talking a little bit earlier. Pinballs, thank you so much for both being like just a amazing, genuine advocate for the game. You had legitimate, straight criticism about certain things and just a whole lot of love for everything. And your legitimate enthusiasm for pinball and for our game is like just thoroughly heartwarming. And it was a pleasure to meet you in person. And I cannot wait for you to get your game specifically, and everybody's, of course. But yeah, it was great talking to you. Stan G, everyone that I actually met in person. It was really great. Thank you to all the shout outs that are saying how great the pin is and that you're looking forward to it. We got YouTube going on right now too. Hoppin' hot. Cameron's saying, congrats on the pin. The music is very unique. It definitely is. Sonic signature. For the tour guide, what was your process in landing on the voice actor? Sure. So the voice actor is a friend of mine. He's an actor in Los Angeles. He does audio books and some other stuff. And we had a meeting, we talked about it. We needed to find somebody, and there was a few people's names that we really wanted to. Some of them are not alive, which is hard to cast a voice actor who is not living. And so we wanted to have a tour guide that was very in theme with like the Haunted Mansion, Disney's Haunted Mansion, or right, is it Haunted Mansion? I forget what the exact name is. But just somebody who had a lot of personality. And we wanted every single person in the game to have a character. Be a character, have a character, and really kind of like call out to the 90s. A lot of this game has a lot of references to the 90s. Something that I want to talk about with Joshua is you'll notice that a lot of the animation in the game is very, very much an homage to The Seventh Guest. If you guys didn't pick up on that, that's a lot of what our reference was, how the cameras move between rooms with the whole room going dark as the door opens, traveling down the hallway. If you haven't played that game, it's a CD-ROM title from the 90s and a game that I absolutely loved as a kid. So yeah, like just know that many of the decisions that went into this game were insanely thought out. They come from this insane document that Karl put together. It's not like we didn't YOLO this situation. It was, here's our plan, here's our direction. We're gonna go with it whole hog, and hopefully people resonate with it. And I think a lot of people did. So yeah, hopefully that answers that question. Splickety Lit is asking, are the rooms all pre-rendered video assets? Take it away, Josh.
Yeah. The rooms they're pre-rendered with with PNG sequences overlaying certain areas. Like if there's things we want to trigger to turn off and on that need to be interactable, then we render those separate things out with like alpha channel data around them, and then overlay those in that area so that they're interactable.
There you go. I'm getting some questions about when the games are coming. I understand you're super excited. You know, David said manufacturing is going to start in a couple of weeks and they're going to start shipping out units. That is literally all we know. So trust me that Barrels wants you to have your game and they're making it happen. So that's all we could say to that. Dan Ryan, it was great to meet you. Do you think there's going to be more well-known IPs from manufacturers in the future? I don't know. I think this was a great experiment and I think a lot of things aligned to make this game a success. I don't think that means a IP that is not well known will always be a success, but I think that we will always aim to make the greatest possible pinball machine we can as a team at Barrels. I know that sounds like kind of a cop-out answer, but it's true. I don't care what the IP is. We're going to make a great game. Most of the team are, let me not say that. I didn't know what the Winchester was. Did you?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
Actually, yeah, I'd heard of it when I was a kid and stuff, and then when I mentioned it to my wife, she was like super excited. Yeah.
Misled has a good question. He's like, I really like all the instrument target sounds. I can't place what is going on with the bass and treble clefs. Anything you can talk about there? So all of the instrument targets are, so there's 4 or 5. There's gong, drum, bell, horn. I'm forgetting one, Josh. What am I forgetting?
Gong, drum, bell, horn. Man, I modeled all those too.
I know, right? Anyways, so the point is, every single one of those is actually recorded. So Sydney played the drum. Karl played trumpet on it. I demanded that he do it. Karl plays musical instruments. You'll notice that tambourine. Thank you. Of course. And I played the tambourine.
Wow.
I have it over there. So everything that could be recorded legit is done legit. This game has almost no stock sound effects from fucking dumb libraries. I don't roll like that. I like recording authentic Foley from different sources. A neat little story. So like the turntable mech, the turntable, when it goes click, click, click and locks into place, is actually an antique typewriter. And it was recorded with a Sank & Co. 100K microphone. It's a microphone that records up to 192 kilohertz. And it allows you to record into ultrasonic land. It's used for recording bird calls and bugs and all this different shit. And so when you record stuff that's like really tiny and clicky like that, you can pitch it down octave after octave after octave. So all of the turntable clicky mechanics are actually the internal little spring mechanisms on this old typewriter pitched down like 10 octaves. And, it just gives it so much character. And these are unique sounds that you just can't pull out of, a library. So hopefully that answers some of that. Yeah. but also let's get back. So Joshua, we had to transition these elements from one element to another, right? And can you talk a little bit about like what it's like seaming elements together and making sure that like the elements are able to transition both between scenes to rooms and also between like the upper and lower display?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the hardest part with that kind of thing is like you never know what's going to happen during a person's game of, during the person's game of pinball. Like if they're going to be in that room for a decent amount of time, if they're going to drain out of it fast, if something else going to get called up on the screen. So yeah, I mean, fading to black is a safe bet, honestly, because like we would, it'd be nice to have some sort of interesting camera outro animation or something, but realistically, it's going to end up getting stomped on while someone's playing the game. So it's, we kind of have to go for something safe.
It also fits with the haunted house theme, though. I mean, you're entering into a dark room, and then the lights turn on, and it also is like kind of an homage to the whole like Seventh Guest thing, because a lot of the same reason that they would have that render to a black room is because you can't render what is the next room without infinitely having multiple versions of it. It's just from a pipeline perspective, it doesn't work. So it helped kind of locked in on that style.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Gecko says, he's like, regarding the voice acting, was he new to voice acting for Pinball? Yes. Did you lend him a pin or something? No, I had him come over to the studio. He's local in Los Angeles, and we talked about Attack from Mars. We talked about Medieval Madness. We talked about a lot of amazing 90s games that just have these like over-the-top call-outs. We talked about, a lot of people have been saying Vincent Price. Like there was a number of characters and a number of real-world actors that we wanted to like dial in the narrator to be this kind of like kooky, off-the-wall, like just like eccentric thing. Because, some of the call outs are like goofy and some of them are like pretty intense when he's like screaming at you. Then there's some other modes later on that are coming up with the rooms that are going to be intensity is definitely different because the scenario in the room is scarier in general as opposed to just like walking around being a tour guide. So yeah. Indie Arcade Wave says, great game. I really enjoyed playing Expo. Dune was great too. That's right, man. Dune is awesome. And I'm so glad so many people got to experience Dune in a, like, I don't know, better setting. Like people were coming, like the line for Dune was not as big as Winchester in the experience room, but the line for Dune was consistent the whole time. There were always people waiting to play both games, which was fantastic. Yep. Josh, what do you think? What was your favorite room to model? Because I know that some of them have a lot more interesting or a lot more challenging architecture than others.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the one that stands out to me the most is the basement, because there's a lot of pipe work and these gauges and like, man, I mean, I did my best. I looked up old boilers. I looked up the exact boiler that they have in that basement, and I looked for every piece of reference I could find so I could get all the pipe work correct. Like I got really nerdy with making sure that everything was like as on point as possible. Yeah, I think that was my favorite and it's spooky. There's a Wheelbarrow Ghost multi-ball happens down there too. Yeah,
Wheelbarrow Ghost multi-ball is absolutely my favorite too. That is such a good, like, yeah. It is difficult to get into because you got to get those rollovers in order to be able to spell open and then to be able to get it in there. It's a high value, high difficulty to unlock multi-ball, and I love that. Love it.
Yep, and it's a lot of fun once you're in it too.
Totally. There's some older questions I missed. Jason says, what primary application and tools are you using to make the animations and digital models? Josh?
Honestly, for this project, I used mainly Blender. Blender, I love Blender personally. I use a lot of Unreal 5 in Dune, but in this project, it was Blender because there's a lot of great add-ons to help with my workflow. The asset library, I set up this awesome asset library, so every time I modeled like a new style of door or a new style of window or a new style of trim, I could build it into my asset library. So when I started a new room, I could look for any consistencies from stuff I've already done and drag them out into the world and sort of get things blocked in to save myself some time.
Are you planning on renovating your home with some of this new architecture that you're now compiling?
It gives me a better eye, honestly, because now I'm just like, yeah, they really slacked off here.
Man, this trim is cheap. We should get some Winchester trim in here.
Yeah, right.
Slinger says, it feels like Dune stock will be up since Expo exposed many new players to the game. Yeah, I'm really glad a lot of people got to play Dune in the condition that Dune is in right now. The new alt backglass is amazing. Shout out to Johnny Crap. I cannot wait to get that alt backglass. That thing is amazing. Amazing. I love it. I love it so much. Tilted Spider, what's going on, man? Also, of course, Wolfman, what's going on? He said they heard the call outs. They're intense. Haven't played Winchester Mystery House. Well, you got to. They look like great games. Hype is real. Congrats. Well, play it before you say they're great games. I think they are. What do you think, Josh?
Same. Yeah, honestly, because we've been sharing videos back and forth, in the chat. So I thought I understood the game, but then once, like my wife and I played it at Expo, I think 4 times, stood in line for it, and it's so much better in person. It's so much more fun to play than I realized it would be. I mean, I know I'm a little bit biased because I worked on it, but just honestly,
sure.
like
we're both biased, but
yeah, I worked on a ton of games at Stern also, and like we would go to the launch parties, and my wife and I had played pinball together. And I've never seen her this excited about a game before either, honestly.
I think when you play a lot of pinball, when you look at a playfield, you can kind of envision, like a lot of us that have played a lot of pinball can imagine what it's like to play a game. And I think that's where a lot of the faith for this particular title, like obviously having Karl involved was a huge, push for it. Having it be a surprise was a huge help. But when it really comes down to it, you look at the playfield, you imagine yourself playing this game, you see what the ball paths are going to be, you imagine what the rules are going to be. One of my favorite videos, like of course all of us are like watching, at least I am, I guess I can't speak for everybody, but I've been watching and looking about what people are saying about the game because we care about it and we want to see what the feedback is. And feedback that is provided in a really honest and like legitimate way is listened to. Like your comments are heard, right?
Yep.
But when you play a lot of pinball and you see a layout, you can imagine yourself playing it. So the excitement around the game is real because you know to a certain degree when a game I think is going to flip really well versus one that just isn't. And no matter what you feel about the IPs, Dune and Winchester flip really well.
Yep.
They're fun games.
Yep, 100%.
Hey, Eric's here. Ep the Geek is here. I'm going to have Eric on as well as a guest to talk about the code. I'm sure that's going to be a fun episode. But, you know, everybody say hi to Eric. Also, thank you for the new follow. We'll give you a bath later. What's the next game? Lol, that's funny. It's a Raven remake. We're finally going into some of the older games, and we're going to start remaking some classics like Raven and Hard Bodies and Lady Luck. Those are the next 3 games coming out of Barrels of Fun. You can quote me on that. If they're going to be at TPF, I don't know. I'm assuming they would be, but that's a question for David and the other team members that make those decisions. Anyways, Cameron asked an interesting question. I don't know what this is directed at me or you, Josh. Why don't you take this one? He's like, was there something that wasn't clicking for either of you that you then figured out? Like, what was the biggest challenge?
I honestly think for me it wasn't clicking to me that the rooms would be interrupted so much. I mean, from my standpoint, I'm trying to interpret the rules in a way that are fun on the screen. And I do the UI also, so I have to balance those elements together. And I was sort of interpreting the rules in a way that, like, once you got into a room, you stayed there for quite a while. And that just, it's not that the interpretation changing is bad. It's made me look at everything a little differently. So it has given me some things that I need to change a little bit and sort of finagle.
I think Karl changed up kind of like 2 mechanics, I think, that people are normally used to working a certain way in pinball and kind of flipping them on their head. Actually, before I go there, I should let you know, Serge called me to talk specifically about how much he loved that the user interface provided both a clear image of the information you needed without it being complex, and also when certain other elements like came on that were more important, the stuff that was there was still relevant. Like, he was praising the UI in terms of giving the player the feedback that they needed without, overloading with unnecessary information or just having it be confusing. And I hope that when you play the game, he specifically called out the 2x playfield multiplier, which is one of the things that I wanted to talk about with Karl's rule set change. So, if you haven't played the game, and I understand that it is probably going to be very difficult, I hope that arcades have one near you if you are a person who's interested in trying to find the game and play it. So the 2 things that I think are really different that Karl put in the game, I'm trying to angle my fingers here. So one is, like, when you start the game, like when you begin the travel process of going to a room, like, you're building a jackpot value kind of for that room immediately. And it's really fun. Like, you start off with that kind of dopamine rush of building that risk reward the moment you plunge the ball. And, whether people were aware of that rule, we tried to explain it to them in the beginning. As soon as you hit a room, you start traveling there. And as soon as you start traveling there, everything gets lit white. And anything you hit that's white is now building your jackpot or mode value for the room. So every shot you hit in that mode room is going to give you that amount of points. And it's super fun. And so that's an aggressive, different take on the opening moment of a game, which is normally saved for multi-balls or wizard modes, I would say, right? Like, would you agree, Josh?
Yeah, I wasn't quite sure how that was going to work. I was so focused on the rooms. I wasn't paying a lot of attention to travel. We actually got to the travel, like hallway artwork and stuff, a little later, but then I was like, oh yeah, this is great. Yeah, it's definitely interesting because you get that chance to build those points while going to the next room before you get there, which is definitely really cool. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. And then the second thing is the multiplier. So people are so used to a playfield multiplier, just like blowing your points up and you just hit a bunch of stuff and you get a lot of points. But, the demon that Karl is, he set it up so that you can get this 2 or 3x multiplier running, and all of those points kind of go into this like floating pool. And if you don't make this last shot, once the hurry up starts for that, you don't get them. Yep. So like the element of risk reward is pretty enormous in the game. Back to Cameron's question. I mean, I would say, I wouldn't say that wasn't clicking, but the biggest challenge for me was that I came into the game with a very clear, but very like extremely different approach that I wanted to do for the music and the sound design. Like the music, I was like, it should be a score. It should be pretty when you're traveling the house. And then when you get into rooms, it can be like ethereal. And then when you get into wizard modes and when you get into multi-balls, it can be a little more intense. And that's not how pinball normally works at all. And then, you know, the whole sound design where I'm just like, I'm going to use this old chipset because I love 90s games. And I think people are tired of hearing like stock sound effects, you know, and then took the time to like dig into how, you know, a 4-voice operator could really be used and be authentically similar to how it was used in the 90s. So like, you know, the people who don't get the sound of music, I'm sorry, but like so much love and so much fucking effort went into the concept behind that. And it wasn't just like a happy accident. We'll see how this stuff slaps together. Like this was planned from the get-go. And I knew it was a risk, and I think it paid off. A lot of people really love it. And to those, I super appreciate it. To the ones that don't, you know, I'm sorry, but it's really the vision we had for the game, and I couldn't be happier with it. And I urge you to give it a chance. If you're seeing it on a video and you're like, oh, this doesn't make any sense, you got to play it, because every sound effect in there is keyed. It's on the same tonic or relative chord, so you are also the instrument as you play the game. You had mentioned the treble and bass targets. Like those tones are the 1-3-5 chords, or I'm sorry, the 1-3-5 tones of many of the relative chords in the game. So just as the ball's bouncing around, like you're adding to the music that is already playing, and it's really fun. So yeah, that's my spiel on that. That was what I would say was the most challenging thing. I realized that my screen got scrolled down and I'm missing stuff. Brad's here, everybody. Brad Albright did the artwork for the playfield. So let's talk about that, Josh. The one thing I really do love about our game is that there's synergy between the animation style and the playfield style. Something that I've been very critical on the channel about. I don't like when the display is disconnected from what's going on. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, honestly, how we worked, like we had started the display elements before Brad joined the team, which, you know, I was a little worried about at first, because that's not traditionally how I worked on pinball machines previously. But it actually ended up working out really well, because Brad and I were able to bounce ideas back and forth, and like I was able to give him models of the rooms. He was able to send me what he was thinking about for like the spirit board and the planchette, so I could utilize that in our 3D scenes. We were able to make changes. I'm still making some changes to the ghosts and stuff to try to match his style a little closer. Yeah, there's still a lot of back and forth going on. We're by no means done with this game. We're all extremely passionate about what we're working on. We're still trying to make it even better. I mean,
yeah,
I know the game sold out or whatever, but it doesn't.
Who cares?
Honestly, it doesn't exactly. It doesn't matter to any of us, because like I'm still trying to make this thing freaking amazing. Like I want this thing to be beautiful.
To the handful of comments of people saying, "Oh, the game's sold out. They have no reason to work on it." What the fuck are you talking about? Like,
I was at the convention. Yeah. I was at the convention, like making notes.
Yeah. There were, okay, so on that note, let's talk about that. So Misled has a comment that will lead into that. He's like, did any of the music compositions come from my back pocket theme, or did I write them all after knowing the theme? All of the music is written from scratch for the game. All of it. In fact, we got a comment. People were saying that they really loved the trailer music. That was a track that I had written a while ago. It is my music. People have loved it so much that we are working right now to try to put it in the game. People were like, the trailer music should be in the game. Okay, we're going to try to do that. So, that's what I'm saying. Like, your comments are heard, but all of the music is original. I wrote it all, and it all started when I heard the theme. I sat down on my piano. Karl sent me a bunch of soundtracks from The Seventh Guest, and I was like, "Are you kidding? I love The Seventh Guest. Like, I know this." And we were talking about how we wanted every song to have kind of an earworm, like something in it that like you would walk away and maybe you'd start humming the music. And I sat down and I played the theme for the Winchester that I thought fit. I was like, "This is kind of spooky. This is kind of moody." I sent it to Karl, and he was like, "Roll with it. This is great." So, hey, Carrie Hardy's here. Awesome. Dude, I'm so glad. There was a lot of like kind of what I would call A tier, S tier pin influencer people. And I've been watching their content, but like I've never actually met them in person. And absolutely every single person was amazing, super nice, very genuine, very but honest with their critical feedback, very honest with their praise. And Carrie Hardy, absolutely no other. What an amazing dude. I want to shout out Retro Ralph, Jamie Burchell, of course, Rachel and Kale from Electric Bat. I can't believe it when I say it, but Kaneda was super nice, and I really enjoyed. I played a piano duet with him for like 30 minutes. It was pretty awesome. I don't know if anybody saw that on Instagram, but everybody showed their best face at Pinball Expo, and as my first experience, it was awesome. Joshua, if you're seeing some of these comments, help me out here, man. There's so many fucking people talking about it. I'm drowning. Answer some shit.
Yeah. I'm trying.
Pinball says the art's phenomenal. I guess that's for both you and Brad.
Yeah, he was a great guy. I got to talk to him a bit.
Jason says the trailer music's great. Would be happy to get it in the game. Like I said, that's going to happen. Bronson says, please keep the audio trend with barrels coming. Yeah, I mean, if they keep asking me to work on games, I'm going to do it. Is there any theremin music in store? I hadn't thought about that. Do you want theremin music in it? We got a few more rooms that haven't been touched yet. There's a lot of wizard mode music and stuff that's ready to go. I can't wait for you guys to hear that. But there was an organ. There's an organ, so I made a very big organ track. Well, that'll be a nice little teaser for some of the upcoming music in the game. Brad also is mentioning Blake. Blake did an amazing treatment for the logo. Blake does a lot of graphic design on the team, and he looked tired. Setting up the booth, doing everybody put 10 times the effort to try to make sure that this whole Expo experience like really popped.
Yep. I'm excited about the remaining rooms that we have. We have a lot of good modes coming up.
Yeah, and each room has its own unique kind of like thing going on. So,
yep.
Yeah, Carrie, I'll give you a dubstep room. That's a great idea. That's my best dubstep. Jason says in an early podcast, you mentioned the use of the Yamaha audio chip. Yeah, that's the Yamaha 2156, I think. It's the four operator voice. I misquoted it in my video. But yeah, for someone not very familiar with older games, what impact does that have on the audio? Well, it's just the Yamaha 2156 chip is almost the same chip that's in the Sega Genesis. So if you're familiar with that Sega Genesis, like kind of like very raw digital sound, I think the most iconic game that uses it in its most raw form is BSD, Bram Stoker's Dracula. If you've ever played Bram Stoker's Dracula, that is pretty much an authentic wall-to-wall Yamaha chipset experience. Like every sound in that is done with that that chip. And we really hybridized it. I was originally leaning in very heavy with the Yamaha chip, and it's good, but I wanted to make sure that some of the sounds could help flex some of the Foley work that I wanted to do on the game as well. So, all right. Anyways, I'm sorry. This is like, we're kind of doing a 50-50 here with our Expo and the audio and Josh work. So we talked about, you had to dive into modeling all of these rooms, right? What was it like with combining the workflow of putting the characters in the game too? Because we have these ghosts in the game, right? So like, how do you have them interact with a background that's pre-rendered? Let's talk about that. Hit me.
Well, I first want to mention that you were great to work with because, I mean, the audio comes in last. So I was feeding you stuff at the last minute, and you were just killing it. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Yeah,
I did that key sound, but like about 20 minutes before I got on the Uber to go to my flight. It was funny. We were like, wait, when you hit the button, there's no key sound, and we were just like, oh shit. And Expo is 24 hours away. And I was just like, it needs to be something really cool. So, I jangled the keys, hit the synths, boom, bam, boom. There you go.
Yeah. We originally didn't have anything for that. I broke the UI apart even more so that we could do some key animation for that. So that was nice. I think Trent did the light show for that. And then I gave Eric like a example of an animation, but I think they made it even cooler than what I gave them. But
awesome.
But yeah, getting the spirits worked into the rooms. I essentially had a layout. I laid out cameras for every room, and we had ideas of where we wanted the ghosts. And I worked with Julian Brown, who is an animator she's actually in AAA video games. She worked with, my wife is an art director for AAA video games. And there was a layoff at her company, so I was able to snag Julian to work on our project. So I would just talk it over with Julian, send her my scene with the camera set up. We'd kind of work with Karl to talk about what we wanted the ghost to be doing, what the ghost would be doing when they entered the ghost box, what was the sort of win-loss condition of the mode. And then Julian would block out the animations, send them to Karl and myself, and we would sort of discuss them as a team. And then she would either make some little tweaks or she would take them to final. And then, yeah, I had made this like ghost shader to try to, I mean, obviously they're ghosts, so we needed to go some sort of ghost shader, but it also saved us some time doing materials and UVs on every single character because
Yeah, you don't
there's,
have to model or texture clothing and stuff like that if they're all kind of like
yep,
a inverted fall off effect on the ghost.
yeah, yep, yep. And there's like 14 ghosts or something like that. So,
That's a lot of
and
ghosts. Very
yeah,
spooky.
plus malicious spirits. So there's a lot of work there. So she's handling all of that while I'm doing the UI and all the rooms and modeling and
This warms my heart.
materials on
Carrie's
that.
Carrie's a Sega fanboy, dude. Genesis does what Nintendo
Nice.
don't. You know what I'm saying? It's just
I'm the
how it
same, man.
is.
I love Sega. I'm
It's
a
just how
big
it
Sega
is.
fan.
Cammy, it's good to see you. I actually love watching Macaw's stream. I know who you're talking about, and I didn't know that he recently do that. That seems like a game he would have like jumped on like a while ago. Bonson says, I hope the Pepper's Ghost screen can add still images for the rest of the front of the building. Yeah, the Pepper's Ghost is something that I think Eric has said that we are planning on using a lot more. I mean, we
Yep.
have the opportunity with the second playfield or second display in the game, and just why would we not want to? It's just it's there to display stuff. Currently, like it really does accent jackpots, and it does and the mystery and some other things. But I believe using it in a more extreme capacity is for sure happening.
Yeah.
Hey,
that's
Pinmonk, what's going on? Shout out to Pinmonk. I'm sure you know who Pinmonk is. But are you representing different camera types? Oh my God, it's Flow Girl.
Hi, Josh.
Oh man, she's killing my
Hi,
camera.
good to see you.
Yeah.
Here, let's go back to
Good
here.
to see you too. It was nice meeting you at Expo.
Are you representing different camera types to amp up the drama? No, as far as I know, the experience of the going through the house isn't done in like a contemporary ghost hunter style. It's more of just a traditional taking the tour and experiencing ghosts. There are plenty of the rooms have weird things going on with them. The basement is a good example of that. I also think that the what is it? The Witch's Cap has some interesting stuff. So there are definitely the rooms are going to have themed, interesting things going on with them. Very much like if you've played the basement, you'll know what I'm talking about. But I don't believe any of that involves camera filters and stuff like that. I reloaded. What's going on, man? Same. I can't wait to show you guys more of the Winchester. Jason, back to your earlier question talking about differences between the audio samples. I could probably put together a more comprehensive thing on that if people have an interest in that. It is a lot of work to kind of scope some of that together, and I'd have to make sure that it's okay to jump all these assets online. We have a small package. We sent Carrie a nice little care package of music and sound, which he used amazing in his video that he put together. One thing I want to shout out Carrie specifically, he put a whole video about the background of the Winchester House. Nobody else did any coverage about what the Winchester House is. That's fucking awesome. What an incredibly creative approach to making content that actually like covers more than just the game. And dude, shout out to you. I think that's so goddamn cool. And yeah, thank you. Joe, nice meeting you. Pinball says, probably not in Marlene, but will there be a mechanic to hide from the spirits? I thought this was going to be a graphics question. I was going to throw it at you, Joe, or Joshua. But there's going to be ghosts that roam around the house if you fail modes. That's been talked about. But other than that, yeah. Guys, give Joshua some questions because he's taken the time out of his day to answer questions about the graphics, and so much work went into the overlays for this. Let's talk about the floating mechanics that are in it. We're talking about the 13ths, the keys. When you came up with how to make sure that those elements were both present but not invasive in the screens, what was the logic behind that?
You mean like for the 13 modes or whatever, the 5?
Sure. And when you do the room presentations, like the background of the room like blurs out, I mean, like, and the typography for it is like really awesome. Like I love how, both the room name exists because we're being honorable to the house or whatever, but then also every room has a mode name as well. Like I think it says like the twin dining rooms, flicker and flame, right? So that's both the name of the room and the mode name. So just to try to create a mood and environment for it. So yeah, can you talk about that?
Yeah, there's actually Eric and I actually work a lot together on that kind of stuff. He has the ability to blur the room, so I'll give him a mock-up and be like, this is the kind of thing I would like to do so that the text isn't overwhelmed by the busyness of the room. I was actually influenced by a video game called man, I just had it. now now I'm gonna lose it.
Well,
It's
now I'm
like
curious, man. You got to tell me.
yeah, it's a game about building rooms or discovering rooms. It has like a it's like a pun for a name. Not architect, but blueprints. Blueprints. Yeah. So when we started this game, and this happens a lot, like I'll be when I'm working on a game or something, I'll be thinking about like how to do a certain mode or how something's going to work. And then like my wife plays a lot of games, so I was watching her play this Blueprints game. It's like Blueprints, but
Yeah,
it's
that's
also
a
Blueprints.
real funny dad joke there.
Yeah. So there's like some
Jesus
mechanics in that
Christ.
room. There's some mechanics in that game with like, because there's I don't know if anybody witnessed these, but there's mementos in the game that if you successfully beat a room and help one of the spirits out, you get a memento, and the mementos have special things that help you in the game, or special, you know, score multipliers or add a ball kind of thing. Like, but they're items that were unique to the house. So I had designed the layout for those, and like it was sort of a taking a break from modeling rooms, and I wanted to do the UI, more stuff with the UI. So I had sort of was inspired by blueprints. I had saved some images on my mural board, which is all like inspiration for the game.
And all those items are in they're like perks in the game. I don't know. I'm not sure if that's connected. Again, that's not our department, but I know there's a ton of call outs for them, and yeah, hopefully you'll enjoy that. Also, David, I know you're in here. I can see you. I want everybody in here right now to give out a huge thank you to David, the Barrels of Fun CEO. He's hiding in here, spying on us, probably worried and making sure that everything goes off great in here. But I think that I say this from the bottom of my heart. David really let every single goddamn team member in here do what they wanted to do and trusted them with as little micromanagement as possible, and made this wonderful game happen. And I don't, however you feel about people, you should fucking give him a thank you, because this is this great game that I think people are really gonna feel connected to and get blown away by when they actually get to play it, for the ones that can. Again, I'm so sorry that if you didn't get one, like, it's just, we didn't know this was going to be huge. But it's a special game, and yeah, toss a coin to your Witcher, man. David deserves it.
Yeah, he's awesome to work with. He would call me while I'm making dinner with like an idea or something, and he's a foodie like me, so we would just talk about food, and then we would talk about the game and stuff. Really great guy to work with and work for. Yeah,
totally, 100%. Everybody's saying thank you to David now. It's getting flooded in here. Although he's probably got it muted right now. He's not going to hear any of this. Oh, well. Yeah, David spent he stood in the booth for, him and Karl. We can't also not thank Karl. Karl took the time to put together this enormous document, and just, again, trusted everybody to do what they wanted to, even when some of the things that we wanted to were like, are you sure that's going to work? And we were just like, yeah, it's cool. Let us do it. And yeah, and this reflects, David's already put a game out or two. Imagine Karl, this is his first game. Karl is incredibly well respected in the community. If you don't know who Karl is, he's Pinball. Karl DeAngelo is a legend for putting together both the software that runs most tournaments, like big tournaments, as well as also streaming most tournaments. He's responsible for working with Jim Balsito at Indisc and Pinball at the Beach, or not Pinball at the Beach, I'm sorry, Pinball at the Lab. But just a bunch of other things. Karl's a wonderful guy. I'm privileged to call him a friend of mine. And yeah, imagine the pressure on him. Oh boy.
He was great. That document that he put together, man, amazing. Yeah. It's like a Bible to always fall back to. What are we supposed to do with this mode? Check Karl's document.
Yep, it's like a reference. Carrie, thank you. Joshua, we got a question for you. Finally, is there a personal favorite addition you have added to the game so far?
Honestly, I love Match. Match was just it kind of came together. We knew we were going to do something with the planchette and the spirit board, but we had sort of saved that for farther down the line, and I loved it. I saw a lot of people at Expo taking pictures and videos of it, so a lot of people loved it.
Can you describe the experience of what the match sequence is, just for people that have not seen or experienced it?
Yeah, it's like you're coming into the Venetian dining room. The camera kind of pans down on the table. It's like a malicious spirit sitting at the table because you didn't rescue the spirit. And then it shows the spirit board, and the planchette spells out match, MATCH, and then it sort of shakes in place and snaps down to the match number.
And the playfield lighting has a spotlight that moves in sequence with the planchette, which is neat. And man, there's all these cool sound effects that sync up so perfectly with it too. And then when it's
beautiful.
And then when it slams down to the planchette, the board matches what number you have, or yes or no, and also lights the planchette with the appropriate color. And these huge angelic voices either like give you the sad chord or the happy chord, depending on whether you get, a yes or a no.
And the apron plays along too.
So Pinmonk asked a really, really great question. I talked to Brad about this specifically because I didn't know at Expo and came back and told a bunch of people. This is let's put this rumor to rest. I believe that Brad is in here too. He can contribute to this. So the rumor is the W on the planchette is a secret homage to Lyman F. Sheets because it looks like an L, an F, and an S kind of smashed together into this W. I'm sad to report that it is absolutely a coincidence. Brad said that he did not intend for that to be the case, that his widow reached out to him and he was like, I'm sorry, it's not. But of course, like what an amazing individual, what a legend in the pinball world. If we had planned to do that, that would have been amazing. But everyone on the team obviously respects what Lyman has brought to code in pinball. And, it is just, it's not true. It's not a true rumor. I'm sorry, but that would have been cool. Happy accident. There you go. Yeah, Brad.
Yeah.
Was there any inspiration taken from Phasmophobia? I don't know what that is.
I don't either.
Yeah. Are all the apron letters and numbers LED? I believe all of the lower numbers are, all of the yes and no, the planchette, and I forget if the alphabetical stuff on the left is. I'm not entirely sure. But most of it, a lot of it is. Because we use the numbers like for countdowns and all sorts of other cool stuff. Tiggle's saying, have you been to the actual Winchester house? Damn it, woman, you know I have not.
I haven't either.
Yeah.
Want to go?
Would definitely want to go. Hey, everybody, it's Flow Girl. Will machine number 13 go to the Winchester house? I don't know. There is I believe, is there? I don't know. I think that Winchester house is getting one, but that's, again, not our department.
Yeah. For their
Yeah.
store or whatever.
Fire off some more questions for Josh. If there's anything, Josh, if there's something you want to say, let it rip. But what are we? We're pushing almost an hour now, unless there's anybody.
I feel like I've been to the Winchester Mansion because I have spent so much time modeling those rooms.
What's your favorite room in the mansion or house?
Mine?
Yeah. Like if you needed to set up a tent and just like chill for like a couple of days, like let's pretend it's the zombie apocalypse. Okay, that's assuming you didn't need food and you just wanted to like chill. Like what room would you chill in?
I mean the basement's pretty scary, so maybe not there.
Probably warm with the boiler though.
Yeah, maybe the Venetian dining room because it's kind of creepy. I mean, there is lore that the lights flicker and they've had electricians look at the lights, but there's no reason that they should flicker, but they do, and that's like a creepy thing. But it wouldn't deter me from camping out there.
That would deter me.
Here we go. Dustin, that's awesome that you asked for number 13. Shout out. Great meeting you, dude, also as well. And the whole like Illuminati Cult of Pinball crew. Thank you for taking the time to hang out with me. I'm sorry I didn't have a whole lot of time to play. Adam asks, question for Josh and the team. Is there any storm, lightning, thunder, sounds, art, and effects in the game? That's a huge yes. The shooter groove, as soon as you hit the start button, dumps a ball in there, and the music that is playing has thunder and lightning in the background of it the whole time. And there's some other rooms that I've put thunder and lightning in as the music builds for it. And I believe Brad put thunder and lightning in the back glass itself too, right? I mean, there's rain and shit.
There's probably some rooms that I will add it to that have more windows and outdoor views. I'm working on a few right now.
Yeah. Brad, you're here. I know there's thunder and lightning in it. I just want him to say it. Brad, is there thunder and lightning in the artwork that you made? Carrie's got another question for you. Joshua, tell us some things that are coming to the game that haven't been implemented yet. Carrie, you know we can't really do that. That's cute. There's a bunch of cool rooms coming, right?
Yeah, there's rooms that you can read on the playfield.
Yeah. There you go. And there's going to be wizard modes too in a pinball game. Who'd have thought? Wow. Pinmonk says his aunt took photos in the Winchester Mystery House when he was a kid, and in one empty room when the photo was developed, there was a man with a weird looking face in the mirror. That's crazy. That's probably Henry. Henry is the malicious spirit that all of the ghosts are afraid of in the house.
Oh,
That's
okay.
crazy. If that's true, wow, man, that's oof.
Is that who's on the front of the game?
That is creepy.
Like in the
No, actually, who is the spirit on the back glass, Brad? Is that supposed to be Sarah Winchester, or is that
I think
one of the
it's
other?
Sarah Winchester.
Oh, that makes sense.
As far as I know, it's Sarah, but we had talked about that.
Some random spirit.
I always enjoy audio cues or changes that let you know a change in the status of the game. So yes, there are all of the songs are broken down into layers, and we are interested. I'm curious to play with that by having, like maybe when you hit a jackpot shot, it suddenly makes the music more intense, adds a new layer to it. I've worked with Eric to make that technology in the game, so that has the possibility of occurring. And I don't see why that couldn't happen if it fits and it makes the game better. We have thought into the future to make that happen. I wanted to give that ability to Godot, which is the platform we're using, and it's in there, so we can do that. Volume boost in some modes. Yes, Joe, I've requested that. I'm working with Eric to hopefully have multi-balls and wizard modes give a little nudge to the overall volume to help give more of a dynamic experience to the sound. All right. Enough of these hypothetical questions. We're here to answer questions about Josh and the actual graphics assets. As much as I would love, you can email David with all that shit if you want to find out what's coming in the game. He'll answer those questions. Here we go. Miss Led says, any UI challenges that are unique to Pinball that you haven't run across in your other work? It's a good one. I like that question.
Yeah, with this game, I wanted to break the mold of UI. At Stern also, I always did the lower scores. I think the hard part is whenever I go play pinball, I always watch people play pinball because I like to see what people are looking for on the screen and where they look. So in this game, I wanted to keep your score of when you're playing in the lower right, no matter what. So when you're up to play, your score is always in the lower right. So you're not like, oh, I'm player 3, I got to look over here. I'm player 2 on this game, I got to look over here. Like I wanted it, so I have that like cascading system. I wanted it to be, at every time that you're looking to the lower right, that's where your score is. Because when people are playing pinball, they don't have a lot of time to look up. So that's all my decisions are really based around how much time you have to look up, and trying to keep that the priority is that amount of time.
And on top of that, like we're using the whole game. Like a lot of games only have one point of feedback for the player, and it's the upper screen, right? And if you have to look at the upper screen, you're not looking at the playfield and you're not looking at the flippers. And like one thing I really love about Barrel's designs is the second screen. And then add that with the whole like apron as a third level of feedback for the game. Like we really tried to make sure that you could look at different stages of the game while you're playing to experience and get feedback of it. And I think that's important, especially for people who don't know what's going on in the game. Like any bit of information you can give the player to help them figure out how to play the game better is important. Pinmonk, what's the frequency of the cabinet woofer? I believe it's 40 to 200 or 40 to 400. I'd have to double check the specs on that. But it's an 8-inch woofer, I believe, in the cabinet. It goes pretty low. And also, like all the sound effects, I should note, like the anything that was deliberately supposed to come out of the head box, I've shelved off stuff below like 200 hertz to make sure that it just doesn't cloud this frequency in the actual woofer. So not only is the mix of the game just ducking and side chinning each other, not only are they on different buses, not only is everything compressed and EQ'd to make sure that there's as little crossover as possible, we've tried to make sure that both the panning is there and the frequency ranges are like really scooped so that nothing steps on each other and you get kind of like the best experience possible. So no, I didn't. I think that you're fighting against the inside of the cabinet with back pressure when you're inside of an enclosed box like that. So I don't think that 20 hertz would come out really that cleanly. I think you're just going to end up vibrating the cabinet for the most part. Plus the shaker motor kind of puts out more of like that 5 to 15 hertz because of when it's doing its thing. What do you think about the apron becoming the new DMD and returning to the static or just big media on the back glass, says Armistad. What do you think about that, Josh?
I mean, it's an interesting idea. I think the LCD on the back is a lot of the times for other players and for like when you're not playing. It's entertainment for like, it's also a good way to know like how well somebody's doing, like, and like without like being in their face, looking at their score, it's a nice way to like, oh, that's the Venetian dining room. I know they at least have 20 million at this point or whatever. You begin to know that. Like
Yeah.
I like to put like what ball you're on. I like to keep that front and center too because like especially like this weekend, we were waiting in line to play Winchester for so long. I like to know like, okay, they're on ball 3. It's almost my turn.
I can't stand like it is difficult on a lot of Jersey Jack games to know what ball you're on. That's one thing that I'm not
Yes.
quite. It's just a different format for telling it. I love that they've leaned into it and they think that that's the way to provide that. But for me, like it's just I want immediate feedback. Like what freaking ball am I on if I'm going up there in a tournament or something?
Yep.
Same.
Same.
So yeah, I mean, I think that the apron is an underused thing, and I think that we're starting to pave the way for new ideas on how to bring people into games and use that extra real estate in a different way.
Yep.
Big Boy says, is it like a jump scare? I'm not sure what you mean. There is glass shattering on one of the modes in the, I think it's Twin Dining Room where there's the other
Twin
guy on the
Dining
other
Room.
side. And then also like the basement's got a few jump scares when you've got to like fight off the spirits as they come at you.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Honestly, the tilt's a jump scare
Yeah.
for me.
Here you go. Jason's got a question. He says, any special design considerations for the art to get the Pepper's Ghost effect to work well?
Yeah, it needs to be high contrast. Yeah, that's also one of the things that we had to keep in mind when I made the ghost shader was keeping make sure it's not too busy, make sure we can see a nice like a high level of contrast, making sure the lines of the ghost garment and stuff are simplified a little bit more, I guess, just so that the more detail is great, but then it becomes more muddy, yeah, I mean, I guess higher contrast is a bigger thing. Not trying to show everything.
We definitely went through a number of iterations to try to make sure that the assets that are coming out of there, you can't just treat it like a regular LCD screen. It just doesn't work like that. The reflection absorbs some of the brightness, and assets did need to be tweaked for that. Carrie's out of
room
here.
lighting.
Carrie, thank you for taking the time on your lunch break to hang out with us, my dude. I really appreciate your coverage of the game. And yeah, you're rad. Have a good day.
Bye, Carrie.
Bye, Carrie. Everybody say bye, Carrie. Mark says he's really impressed with the team's attention to detail. Everyone's so passionate about this title. Dude, yes, 100%. Not only because for me it was my first title, but just in general, like, oh my God, dude, like this game is a unique thing. And whether you think it's just because it has low numbers or what, like it's not. It's just a really strange historical moment in pinball, in my opinion. And, I think a lot of people are seeing that now. Dustin agrees that the apron has wasted space for years with instruction cards. Yeah, we're going to have that tutorial at some point. Matt says, congrats. Thank you. Ian's here. You idiot. Bone Busters is the greatest game ever made. How dare you soil my stream with your anti-Bone Busters conspiracy shit, you son of a bitch. This is such a great, like, Chicago beef that's, like, starting with Team Bone Busters versus not. Josh, are you Team Bone Busters?
Chicago beef. Yeah.
Of course.
Did you hear that, Ian?
I'm sorry, Ian. I had fun playing.
I mean, I think you have to be at this point.
Chat, sound off. Who's Team Bone Busters and who's not? Can we get a roll call of who's like,
Don't put people against Ian.
what do I like about it?
Awesome.
That's a really legit. The scoring on it is garbage. I love the ridiculous theme. I love that there's a skeleton butt on it. There's a rollerblading skeleton that's got a booty. Joe from Pin Butts and Pinball Degenerates. Shout out to Joe. Pointed that out. Like, how can I not support a game that's got a skeleton booty on it? Like, come on, right? And look at that skull topper, man. Oh my God. Eric is not Team Bone Busters. Jamie Birchall's here. Jamie, you jerk, you photobombed us with your flip around camera thing. I love it. Thank you so much for jumping in, man. It was really awesome meeting you. Sid said particularly, she was just like, oh my God, Jamie is like such a genuine dude. I love him so much. Like, you really are like, yeah.
Teddy bear.
Teddy bear.
But like
Jamie,
in the best way.
Jamie is like the pinball teddy bear, and for sure in the best way. Big Boy likes Bone Busters. Ian's waiting for real answers. Okay, well, while you're typing up real answers about why you do or do not like Bone Busters, yeah, Joshua, let's send it off with like, what is your favorite memory about doing art on this, and anything else that you would just like to talk about? That whole world is such a mystery to me. You worked so hard making all these rooms come to life. The flickering lights was a nice addition that happened kind of towards the end of it. same as you had said, you were a pleasure to work with, sending me video files when I needed them to make sure that I had what I needed to put sound design to the video assets. Like, it really was just such an enjoyable experience as a first pin for me.
Yeah, I loved working with you as well. I think the I think the memory that stands out the most. We originally thought we had 3D scans of this house, and then it didn't happen. So then it was like, well, I got to start making these rooms. So I think
Time to make the donuts.
yeah, it was like, I mean, it was a bittersweet moment because I'm like, well, it's gonna happen, and I was a little scared that we weren't gonna make the deadline at first, but David was really great at keeping my attitude and positive, because I would be like, oh man, I feel like I'm doing not good on this, and he's like, no, these are great.
They did a good job of having us focus on the things that needed to get done for Expo, as opposed to wasting time on stuff that would have been, I don't know, cool to have, but not relevant for it. Yeah. And I think that hopefully people agree that the first impression of the game has been pretty unanimously positive. Like, we worked hard to give a polished piece of pinball, experience. And, there's a lot of game there. This whole 25% thing that got, I don't know, blown out of proportion is silly. Like, anybody that's actually played the game is like, there's a lot of content in the game. It's a complete experience right now. It's just, we got a few more rooms and some wizard modes.
I didn't see people get to half of the rooms, honestly. Like, I would have liked to see more of it personally, see people play more. I watched a lot. And yeah, we're all still working on it, and I know me myself, I'm refining a lot of stuff. We're making things better. We realize that people see the hallway a lot, so we have ideas to make that cooler and add some more variety to it. We have more ghosts to add. It's going to be awesome when it's done. I mean, it's awesome already.
It's awesome now, but there's just there's room to make it more awesome, and we're going to fill that room up, man. Like, there's so much more fun music and cool shit that I want to put in the game, and it's just, I can't wait. I can't wait for people to get their games. I can't wait for people to start streaming them. On Tilt in LA is going to have one in a couple weeks or so, I imagine. I think that there's going to be one. Shane gets every goddamn new game, so why would this be any different?
Josh, I have to ask you, what's behind you?
What?
It's a chair.
What's behind me?
He's sitting in a chair. Oh. Ow.
Oh, I got like a mural I did on the wall.
That's amazing.
It's a bird.
Cool.
Awesome. That's really cool.
Is it the Winchester bird?
Winchester.
No. I'm a painter and stuff too, so I paint, and I used to tattoo and all kinds of stuff.
Oh, that's rad.
Matt's asking a question about the score balancing. Yeah, I think it's in a pretty awesome place right now. I mean, like, you can play a game and get a couple 100,000 points, or you can play a game and get a couple 100 million. I watched ZMac and Andy Bagwell play, and they didn't blow it up, but they were just fooling around and put up like 180, 200 mil on it. It certainly was the highest score, I think, that the game in the the experience room received. But watching them play the game, I got some video footage of it, was awesome. Like, I mean, you got these two pinball legends playing this game that we have been slaving on for fucking forever. It was just like a whole moment, man. I really dug that. Ms. Diggle says that your chair is awesome. It's really relevant.
Very relevant.
Okay, Armstead asked this twice. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. So this is a question that I think we can explore a little deeper with Eric and also with Brad later. He's asking about what color space everything is done in. And I mean, the graphics are all RGB for the display, right? I believe the printing was done in CMYK. And then Eric uses RGBW for the playfield lighting. And I'm sure Eric is here to talk more about this, but essentially whatever color you're trying to display, it tries to use the minimum amount of color LEDs and then the maximum amount of the W LED, which is the white, in order to achieve that color accurately and without using the most power on the lighting system, which is neat. I think that's cool. Make people put their lip service to skin? What does that even mean? Nudge Magazine says he's absolutely going to get a Winchester lip tat. Don't know what that means. Terrified to think.
Against that. It's like where
I
tattoo.
Can you give me your first tattoo?
I've done a few. I don't recommend it.
Ian, is that going to be like a planchette under there? Would it just say Winchester? Like, what are you going to
No,
get?
it could be the planchette.
Okay.
That would be
great,
awesome.
great idea, Sid.
Better simmer that sass, sir.
Ms. Diggle wants tattoos from you, Josh, apparently.
Yeah.
I mean, not to toot my own horn, but I'm pretty good at them.
Awesome. I need some more. So maybe we should talk. We'll get some Team Winchester tattoos.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
Amazing.
Last chance. A little over an hour. I want to thank you so much, Josh, for taking the time for this. You've adjusted your camera. I can't go full screen now, you big jerk.
Oh, sorry. Did I?
No,
Did I mess
it's
it up?
okay. We're keeping it full screen for the rest of the broadcast. Thank you, everybody who showed up. To all the people that have just poured so much support to us in this game and what we're trying to do. A heartfelt thank you. I really mean it. This has been a journey. Josh, is there anything you want to say to the people?
Yeah,
Send it.
say I appreciate everyone that picked up a game. If you get a chance to play it, play it. It definitely kept me coming back. It's one of those that you just want to play it. For me, I just want to play it one more time because I want to try and hit that shot. I want to try and hit that shot. I want to try and do this, do that. Yeah, and thanks for taking the time to ask questions. And it was great working with you, Jeff.
Thank you, man. Same to you. Also, to the people who waited like over an hour in the line to play the game at some points, I know that what a confidence to like spend your time at Expo. I mean, an hour is a huge amount of commitment when there's so much stuff to see at Expo. Like, I mean, the homebrew stuff was amazing. I mean, there's a lot to see. So to the people that were committed to play the game, I know that Pinball's was in line like 7 or 8 times. I think he must have spent at least 15 hours in line and playing the game. Which is incredible. I absolutely support. That's just awesome. Long Island Pinball Society is probably the tallest person I've ever met. It was really nice meeting you, my dude. You're a giant in the best way possible. Thank you so much for your appreciation of the game. All right. That's it. You know what we do, man. We go raid somebody now. We find somebody who's got not a lot of viewers, and we're going to drop a bunch of pinball lovers on them. Indie Arcade Wave, also meeting you. To anybody that I didn't mention, I'm so sorry. It's just been overwhelming. It was truly great meeting you, and I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. And our game. Without further ado, I will hopefully be doing one of these a week with different team members. I think next week we're going to have Eric on if he's still not camera shy. And he can talk about his adventures in coding, which might be interesting to some people. Yeah. Otherwise, keep your eye on Barrels of Fun's, media, social stuff, websites for information about your game, updates that are coming out, and all that other good stuff. I'll praise the Great Pyramid. Josh, throw it. You at home.